remember me. I remember you too. You stole my heart, so I'm gonna steal you for the first time in weeks. I feel good for the first time in weeks.
Hello and welcome to Show House, your favorite property show that talks to you as a buyer or seller. I'm Kura Chiota, and together we're going to be traveling this country looking at some of the up-and-coming areas that could be your very next home. We chat to the experts and get that great advice on where to buy, when to sell, and how you can make the best decisions when it comes to your investment. Joining us in studio today is Yashina Maharaj from SA Home Loans, who will give you the skinny on raising the money to buy your dream property. We have, as usual, our resident experts, Mr. Aidan Bennett of Aidan Bennett's Interior. Mark Banks, he's going to give it his best advice on what to do with your property. On today's show, we venture into the heart of Soweto and change perception of what life actually is like there. We open up that mailbag that we have of tons of the emails that you've sent through and answer the burning questions that keep you awake at night, and then take a little bit of inspiration from our inspirational property of the week. If you'd like us to feature your property on the show, if you've got any questions regarding the buying or selling of your home, email us pictures and your questions to showhouse@thehomechannel.co.za. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter, HomeChannelSA, as well as on Facebook using the hashtag Showhouse if you want to join in our conversations. Mark, when was the last time you were in Soweto, my man?
Funny enough, last Saturday night at the Soweto Theatre, believe it or not.
It's a stunning building, eh?
Absolutely wonderful.
Off the charts in creativity.
Fantastic piece of architecture. I think even Aidan Bennett's Interiors may have had something to do with it, because it looks like something Aidan could have made. It looks like something out of
It's cubist, and then it's got the double volume, and then it's got the
cubist,
see-through floors.
marloist, it's got a bit of everything, and it's a very vibrant theatrical centre. It's got 3 venues inside it, restaurants. It was a whole and a fantastic audience, a mix of everybody and everything from everywhere.
You're from Cape Town, you do the Mzoli's thing in Joburg. Have you done Wandies, or you've gone through Chafpozi? Mambra, we've got to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Mzoli's in Cape Town, but haven't actually experienced Soweto. But from what I understand, the area is experiencing quite an African renaissance, where the people who live in the area are already taking pride in the fact that that's their home, and it's really wonderful to see.
Yash, as a lending area, how are you finding lending into Soweto?
Kura, we definitely do lend in Soweto. There's so much of development that has taken place in the last few years from what it used to be.
Sure. And Soweto is a generic term there, 22 suburbs and very different profiles, but yeah, it's yes, generic, yeah.
That is it. There's plenty of good property in Soweto. And with SA Home Loans having launched an affordable housing side to the business in the last year, it definitely helps the pockets of people that are obviously battling to get home loan financing due to income and affordability. So definitely yes.
We took our cameras to have a look at what's going on in the streets of Soweto. Take a look at this.
Soweto today is a beautiful area. We are finding that a lot of people in the past used to want to move away into the suburbs, but lately everybody's coming back, and that has caused the property market to change drastically, and especially also with the developments that are happening around, the shopping malls that have come through. And you know, when I think of how it used to look like in the past, we used to have a lot of gravel road and all of that. So today, when you come to Soweto, you see people vibrant on the road, even though some could be not so wealthy, but you feel the energy, you feel the vibe of being in the township.
Soweto is being one of the vibrant city, and coming from where it comes from, it used to be known as a poor city, but it was never poor. It always had element of rich people, middle class, upper class, like any other places. And it has produced people like Maponya, the millionaires of Soweto, the Ivan Koza, the Orlando Pirates owner, the Kaizer Chiefs owner. It has produced amazing people.
Right, there's been a great deal of growth with the people of Soweto. We have seen a lot of growth with the kinds of properties that have been built in Soweto, people are now going towards purchasing the new homes in the different areas, because we used to have a lot of land in Soweto. Right now we hardly ever get any land, any vacant land, because everything has been developed. People that owned properties like these, some of them have built them into double-story homes, so you hardly ever see that much differentiation, except obviously with the new homes that the government is bringing into the Soweto areas.
Soweto, I guess, is going to be one of the best cities in the world. Already it's been graded as one of the biggest cities visited by tourists in the whole world, one of the third cities. And there's a lot of opportunities. People like Richard Branson, he has invested in Soweto. And I guess we need more investors, because there's this perception that Soweto is dangerous, but in fact Soweto is more safer than Johannesburg. As you can see, we don't have these high walls, electrical fence you find in Joburg. Before Soweto, there was no tar road that you see today. There was not as much tree that you see today. There was no parks. There was no formal business. But today you've got proper businesses, you've got restaurants that have come out, you've got malls, and you've got a sense of pride from the people.
Soweto, I can say it's the economic vibe, the fact that a lot of people are entrepreneurs. A lot of people see growth, but the only thing is we need to sort of give more information to people so that they are aware of where the opportunities are. Because right now when you go out, you look at Soweto, it's a different kind of animal. You can actually achieve anything that you want to achieve just within Soweto without going out of Soweto.
Soweto is one of the most, actually, the most important city in South Africa. And in terms of development, you still have a lot of potentiality. And I think Soweto in another 10 years, it will be one of the best cities in the world.
Now, the perception about Soweto, old, anachronistic, apartheid creation, but now given new life. Under the previous mayor, Amos Masondo, they tarred the whole area. So the old dusty road's gone. The upgrade has gone in there. You now got BRT going in there. You've got a world-class mall, Maponya Mall, hold nothing back, another 3 malls in the area. We've seen the old matchbox houses be upgraded and replaced into full title, normal properties. We see crazy development going on in the Protea Gardens part of the way. It's appearing a normal suburb now.
Yes, and which is excellent, because as we all know, your surroundings, the amenities close by all affect your property prices. And with the values increasing, the risk becomes less for a lender like ourselves to actually lend money in those areas and to those homes. And the fact that the design and the entire appearance of the suburbs have changed makes it that much more appealing to a lender like us.
But the tourism element is strong. You've got Vilakazi Street, you've got the old Regina Mundi Church as a struggle icon location. How are you taking your guests into Soweto? They come through, they're going to tell you if they're in Johannesburg, they want to go to the Apartheid Museum, they want to go to Soweto, they want to, I don't know if you go to the soccer games over there.
No, not yet. I went to a rugby game. I went to a rugby match in Soweto 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's going to get bigger than Johannesburg. In fact, I think Johannesburg is the township on the outskirts of Soweto.
Mark, on national TV, I challenge you to do the bungee swing off the Orlando Towers. Yes? No?
Never.
Maybe so?
No, not in a million years.
Swinging right along, it's time for us to swing into an ad break. But when we come back, we're going to visit a home in Pinelands and see how we can help this KZN resident get creative, but inexpensively make changes to a property. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back after this.
Looking for a new home? In Woodstock, Hillcrest, Parkhurst, Potchefstroom, Observatory, we are the home loan specialists in every area.
Welcome back to Show House. We received so many emails from you asking for advice on what you can do to get the most out of your property. Shelley wrote to us asking for advice on the following. Dear Show House, I've recently put my fabulous 4-bedroom home on the market. It has built-in cupboards, a lovely parquet floor, and needs a little TLC. The property would be an awesome house to modernize and convert into an entertainer's dream home. Downstairs, the house has a fantastic living area with an open-plan lounge and dining room, and set off to the side is a separate cottage-style kitchen. The property offers a double-covered parking, staff toilets, and a gorgeous garden with a pool area. How can I market this property to the right buyer as it's been on the market for a while now? Yash, the issue of marketing properties, is getting the right agent to give it the right exposure, but the price is the killer in the deal. How does a buyer get an assessment of what a property is worth?
Correct. They could get independent valuers who would most certainly go out for price and do an assessment. They're not very expensive, so it would be worth your while to get it done. Because agents would price the property according to what the sales are in the area, but as we also know, sometimes they are a little bit too out from what it should be. So a valuer would give you a more or less realistic value.
Okay, the valuer is an outstanding impartial observer, and he'll give you a number. Yes. But when you're trying to build up this idea to put in that offer to purchase, you don't quite have the commitment. So if you've hired the valuer, you're not yet locked into this property. Yes. Are there tools that are out there that you can get a general sense of what a property is worth when you start your search?
Okay. Kura, the whole thing I think would boil down to getting in a few agents perhaps that are obviously well known to the area and that are old names, reputable names, trusted names that you could say, listen, come out and give me an idea. And that would more or less give you a good idea of what the property is worth, because it would not just be based on the area, but also the finishes and the actual property, what it has to offer itself. So yeah, I think that
Mark,
would be the
when you're going
bet.
out there, do you kind of have an instinctive sense in your head of what a property should be worth and what you're prepared to pay, and then that somehow marries to what the person trying to sell it is looking at?
Yes, I do. And I always try and grind the estate agent down to telling me the truth, how desperate the seller is. And you'd be amazed what you can find out from estate agents. Grinding an estate agent down. There are various ways to grind an estate agent down. In fact, I'm writing a book on it at the moment, which should be out by Christmas, grinding estate agents down. To find out the history of the house, how desperate the seller is, what the story is behind the seller. And if they say no, then there's no pressure to sell, they've all gone overseas, the children have all left, and the daughter's mad and she's in an institute, and their business has been declared bankrupt, you know that you can push the price down, and you'd be amazed what estate agents will tell you.
Mark, do you have a relationship with an agent, or do you just take it as it comes?
No. Why, is this confession time? My relationship with agents? No, never ever. There's agents I've known, and I think when you live in the same city, over a period of 3 decades, I've been buying and selling property and having properties having properties come and go. No, not with any one agent, and I always play one against the other. I said, well, I'll go to that one because they said that, and I make up stories, and I have the agents baying for each other's blood when I say what that agent told me about the other agent. They didn't really. I just make it up.
You know they're going to see you on show. They'll see you come in there. So
yes, they know who they are, and in a lot of cases, I'm
agent's
spot on.
worst nightmare.
Yeah.
That they're hard-working, good people. Give them a break, mate.
But I like honest agents. Sometimes when an estate agent is honest and they actually say, here's the damp, that's the wonky floor, and you think, well, I was going to rip out the floor anyhow. So I think a very, very honest agent who tells the true story as it is, and they say, this is what it is, there's the trains going by, beware of that, and I think that is a big plus when agents are very, very honest.
All right?
Definitely.
Now, I'm going to ask you guys to play agent. I'm going to ask you to price that property. If you at home would want to join in on the fun, tweet us Home Channel SA and use the hashtag #PriceThatProperty. The way this works, your old hands at this, as you've seen the visuals of the picture, use your creative minds, assess the market conditions. You can run regression analysis if you want to do it, Mr. Mark Banks. Yashina, you can do finance complex models, and you're going to give me a number of what you think this property is worth. While our experts are cracking their head doing their evaluations, we're going to take a short break. Would like you to send me a tweet and tell me what you think the property is worth. We'll see you right after this.
Looking for a new home? In Langebaan, Kloof, Soweto, Hartbeespoort, Nelspruit? We are the home loan specialists in every area.
Welcome back. It's time to see which of our experts came closest to the actual price of this property. Pine Lands is a suburb in Pine towns. I know you're going to have a bias and you're going to think that we're talking Cape Town.
Yeah, I just want to
Island.
clear this up. I mean, I always thought Pinelands was in Cape Town. It's
It
a
is.
garden suburb, 10 minutes from town.
It is in Cape Town.
You know, you're allowed to
And
have...
now there's Pinelands.
There's Killarney, Johannesburg, there's Killarney, Cape Town. It happens, yeah?
No, that's Kyalani. Isn't it?
Yes, you're above the fray. Let us give these gentlemen some guidance. The
Okay.
property is in Pine Lands
In Pine Town.
KZN. Hit me a number, please, man.
All right, I'm looking at 1.9. The property is quite big. It offers excellent accommodation, 400 square meters, a massive stand, a nice swimming pool. It is a bit dated in terms of the interior, but yeah, I would settle to say 1.9.
1.9, I got a bid from the opening lady in the blue dress. She's saying 1.9. Mark Banks, can I come in?
Well,
Can
I
get a
thought I was
number from
pricing
you?
this on Pinelands, Cape Town, because I don't really know Pinelands, Pine Town, but I will take your word that there is a Pinelands, Pine Town.
Okay, are
which-
you recording a
Right,
show
I am
on
recording
the
it,
Springbok?
and must go today, all inclusive, 5 bedrooms, as is, buy now, 2.5 million.
Bullish.
Bullish.
And I got a bid from 2.5 from Mark.
2.5 today.
My young lady, are you going to go up from 1.9 or are you going to
I'll
stick on
stick to
1.9? You're going to stick on 1.9. 2.5 is my
2.5.
standing bid. I'm coming to the man, Mr. Aidan Bennett from the interior. What number are you going to
Well, Mark, I think you would have been right if it was Cape Town, but I think, you know, being in Pine Town, it's a little
Yes.
bit cheaper, and I'm just going to come in at 1.75.
1.75. Are you going to go up or are you going to go down? I've got the lady at 1.9.
I'm going to stick right there.
I will take 2.
We'll take 2.
I will take 2.
That's quite a drop, though, Mark. I mean, that's, you know.
Well, I think the sanity exists on the couch because the price that this property is going at is 1.8 million rand in the People's Republic of KZN. So there's reasonable sameness over there. Mark, you're on your own there, boss.
Sorry.
When we're getting away from the house that we live in and we look at the house that we want to live in, take a look at this one. It's an inspiration. Enjoy.
When an architect designs their own home, it's an opportunity to try things that clients may not be brave enough to consider. For Leah Altini, it was a chance to create a bold statement in modernist design and the principles of minimalism.
The main concept of minimalism is capturing light. That's very important to me as an architect. And I think the light, the quality of light where we live is astounding. It's so bright and it's very easy to manipulate. So you could choose surfaces. We've chosen surfaces, some that are highly polished to reflect the light. The concrete is a very matte surface, so it tends to absorb the light. So all the highly polished surfaces we've used in the foreground then are offset by this very matte, dark, cool looking surface of the concrete. What has evolved out of the concept of this home is a sort of an African minimalism, you could say. We've used local materials, we've used local timbers, the concrete is obviously locally sourced, and we've tried to create a home which has the essence of openness and obviously planes that move, all the sliding doors and the skylights open as well. So you have this sort of movement. A pavilion always has movement.
The concept of a pavilion or garden room takes the idea of indoor-outdoor living to the extreme, with the entire north-facing facade of the home opening out to the garden and taking full advantage of available light.
We wanted to have a pronounced facade, which was both striking and very simple, against the concrete, because the concrete, all 9 meters of the concrete wall, which sits behind the box, are very visible when you look at the north facade, and they sort of offset the purity of the box that we've created, which is very engineered. It has an aluminium box surrounding the windows, and we've tried to also cocoon the bedrooms as well. So the bedrooms are almost elevated in a sort of, I would say, a nest, basically, a hanging nest.
To counter this, a precast wall of self-compacting concrete forms the south facade of the home and grounds the structure. The natural color and texture of the concrete also helps to counter the clean, smooth textures of the interior finishes.
Well, we've used a very limited palette of materials. I would say we've used 3 basic elements. We've used the white, which is a glossy white. We've used timber and we've used concrete. The concrete always remains a separate element in the background, yet it's integrated in various layers. So we've tried to mimic also some of the concrete and some of the furnishings as well. And it allows us to use these glossy surfaces quite liberally because it tends to absorb all the lights.
In the bathrooms on the first floor, the concrete again becomes a natural, imperfect element to contrast the polished glass and porcelain surfaces.
The bathrooms are very similar to the living area, where we've used very shiny and glossy surfaces. And I think having the concrete in the background as well, in the bathrooms, allows us to play with a very clean and minimal palette, material-wise. So you'll have a very subtly raised tile which picks up on the changes of light within the bathrooms. The bathrooms do have high-level windows and skylights, so you get quite a bit of shadow play on the surfaces. And then what we've done is also the light bouncing off of the glossy surfaces is absorbed in the bathrooms as well, so it doesn't feel like you're in this echoing chamber. It really does soften the space.
To break the stark concrete wall on the exterior, Leah has punctured the expanse with horizontal windows, which allow glimpses into the house from outside and also allow glimpses from the inside out to the man-made forest.
The south side is also the boundary between the neighbour and our residence. So instead of having a keep out sort of message through the use of a high boundary wall, we've used the facade of the house and we've softened it with a landscaping, an intermediate section between their property and our property, so that everybody can benefit from little greenery. And the concrete really works very well as a background to the little forest that we've created on the south side of the house.
This home is a great example of the use of sleek, modern lines and clean finishes to create a fresh, sophisticated space, which is as comfortable to live in as it is pleasing on the eye.
Don't forget, if you'd like us to feature your property on the show, if you've got any questions regarding the buying, selling or financing of your home, email us pictures of your home and your questions to showhouse@thehomechannel.co.za. Join us again next week where we tackle more of the burning issues that are facing you in the property market. From me and the team, crack panel we have here. Goodbye.
Won't remember me